Welcome to Breville Food Thinkers. I'm Ann Reardon from the YouTube channel How to Cook That. And today we're going to make this beautiful enchanted gingerbread house, and I'm also going to show you how to make a Christmas gingerbread house and a Dragon's Den one. Those two are on separate videos, so I'll link to those in the description below. Now before we start decorating it, we've got to make our actual gingerbread dough and the pieces for the roof and the walls. The recipe for that is on the Christmas gingerbread house video and also on the Breville Food Thinkers website, so I'll link to both of those in the description below for you. We're going to decorate our walls and roof before we put this house together. To do that, roll out some white fondant fairly thinly and then brush the back of it with a pastry brush just to dampen that one side. Then add your gingerbread, trim off any excess. We do want to have a border, but just trim off if there's lots of excess, and then flip it over and peel off the baking paper. Then wrap it around the edges, just using your fingers to press it on there, squeeze it in at the corners, and then using a knife, insert that where the base is and cut along to trim off the excess fondant. Now for the two end walls with the pointy top like this one, we need to trim the straight sides so that we don't have any fondant there, because otherwise the walls aren't going to be able to join together. It's going to push them too far apart. So just trim off the fondant there, just on those two side edges. Cover the roof in the same way using pink fondant, roll it out, brush it with your pastry brush, put your roof piece on top, flip it over and then peel off your baking paper. Pinch it in at the corners, smooth it off, and then trim off the excess fondant. To decorate your walls, we're going to paint on a simple flower bud pattern. To do that, just take a paintbrush, some of your gel food colour, and paint on going across in a straight line, but putting your flower bud on a diagonal angle. Just paint a couple of dashes of lighter pink colour all the way across, and then as if your bud's turning to face the other way, go across on your next row, and then back across on the next row, so that each row the bud is facing the opposite direction. Once you've covered your whole wall, then take some more of your red gel food colour and then just on one side paint a line down it. This just adds a bit of depth to it. Then take some green gel food colouring and paint a little stem and a leaf for each flower bud, just going across. And again, this is where you can see that your buds are facing different directions on the different rows. Repeat that on all of your walls and then if possible leave them to dry. For the roof, we're going to decorate it with flowers. Roll out some white fondant and using a flower cutter, cut out lots of medium white flowers. Next, take some hundreds and thousands and place one in the middle of each flower. And I've chosen to use just pink, yellow and orange ones. You can use whatever colours you like. Now take a ruler and use a toothpick to mark where you want to attach them on the roof. I'm putting mine 3.5 centimetres apart going across, and the rows are 2 centimetres apart going down. Take some water and on a paintbrush just put a tiny dab of water onto each little dot that you've made with your toothpick, and then add a flower, gently pressing it on. Next we need to make our royal icing, which is like the glue which holds the house together. Add the packet of royal icing to the mixer and then the 50 ml of water and mix it on low speed until it's just combined, and then turn it right up to high and let it keep whipping until it's thick and glossy like this. Put your icing into a bag fitted with the round shaped nozzle and then lay your gingerbread walls flat and then pipe along where the base of the walls will sit. Pipe a line of icing also up the side walls, not too close to the edge because we don't want lots of icing coming out the front. And then lift up the two walls and join them together. Add another wall and then finally your last one and move them around to make sure they're straight because they're going to set in this position. Pipe some royal icing onto the sloped part of your roof on one side and add your roof piece into place. You may need to support it using a cup until it's set, or it may hold itself. You'll just have to play that one by ear. Pipe some across the top of the roof and down the other side, and then add your final piece into place and support that until it sets. Using your royal icing, pipe dots down that join at the front where the two gingerbread houses come together just to hide that. Then roll out some darker pink fondant and cut out a rounded door shape. Then cut 2 holes out using a knife for your windows. Cut another triangle shape for over the door and place it on a piece of non-stick baking paper over a glass or something rounded and leave it there to firm up so that it will hold its curved shape. While that's setting, add your door in the centre on the front of the house. Roll out a snake of white fondant and wrap that around your doorway. Take some deeper pink fondant again and roll out 2 long snakes and then twist those together. Add this just below the roof to cover the join there and across the top of your roof. Now to make our bow. Roll out some pink and then cut a thin strip. Fold in the 2 ends into the middle, bringing the end of them coming down like a ribbon. Then trim off the ends, cutting out a little triangle out of each one. Take an extra piece, lay it over the top of your bow and then trim it off. Then add a little bit of water just behind it and secure it into place at the peak of your roof. Take some soft silver balls and add them across the front of the roof, just evenly spaced going down. For the garden bed, take a chocolate bar and trim it the width from the door to the edge of the house and then cut 2 shorter bits. Use your royal icing to put them into place. For the soil in the garden bed, place a few Oreos in a bag and crush them up. Then spoon that into the planter box. Now take some pink fondant and roll it out to make a long flat strip. Then starting at one end, roll some of it up, trim it off with the pizza cutter once it's big enough, and then using your fingers just rub them together and roll it and break it into 2, and you've got 2 little flower buds and you can add those to your garden beds. Now to make the path to go down the front of our house, we're going to roll out some purple fondant or some mauve fondant and then take a texture mat or anything that has a pretty pattern on and roll it or just push it over the top just once and then peel that off and you get left with the pattern. And then we need to cut it the thickness of our path, so just measure roughly how wide it is so you know. It doesn't matter if it tapers out towards the edge of the board. And then just pick it up and put that into place in front of your door all the way to the edge of your cake board there, and then just trim it off. Now to make our grass, take some coconut and just put a few drops of your gel green food colouring in there. And now you're going to have to stir it really well, pushing with the back of your spoon to get it to incorporate. It doesn't look like it's going to, but just keep pushing it and you'll get that green colour. If you need to, you can add a few drops of water to it as well, which makes it a bit quicker, but it makes it a bit damp as well. Now that our grass is mixed, we need to use our melted chocolate. We're going to spread some along the board, and this is going to make our grass stick to the board. And it also looks through the grass like it's got soil underneath it, so it looks a bit more realistic than if you use the white frosting. So we'll just spread it out a section at a time so it doesn't set before we've got our grass on it. And then just sprinkle that over the top. And then continue to do that until your whole board is covered. Add a few extra flowers around the place to make it look pretty, and then print out the unicorn marker and add it to the very front of the footpath. You can print out the marker from the howtocookThat.net website, open up the Surprise Cakes app and click on the movie clapper icon. Line up the square with the marker to lock it on, and once it's locked on you can move it back as long as you keep that base part on your screen, and a magical unicorn appears in front of your house. You can press the different buttons to choose what colour you want your unicorn to be, and you can make it move by pressing the buttons across the bottom. Subscribe to Breville Food Thinkers, click here for the Christmas house video, here for the Dragon's Den video, and here to go to the Breville Food Thinkers website to get the gingerbread dough recipe. Have a great week.